Be it the majesty of the open sea or the vastness of space, there is really nothing that rivals a fantastic adventure story. Usually driven by a charismatic protagonist who aches to break free from the shackles of society and taste something sweeter, their passion is absolutely irresistible and effectively draws us into their world. While the destination cannot be ignored, at the end of the day, it is all about the ride. When that tune is played, nobody can resist their call for adventure. Sadly, real life rarely facilitates the means to go on wild expeditions into uncharted territory, but we can live vicariously through anime. Welcome to Anayatune, and here are 10 recommendations for best adventure anime. In the mystical land of Fiori, magic exists as an essential part of everyday life. Countless magic guilds lie at the core of all magical activity and serve as venues for like-minded mages to band together and take on job requests. Among them, Fairy Tail stands out from the rest as a place of strength, spirit, and family. Lucy Hertfilia is a young mage searching for celestial gate keys, and her dream is to become a full-fledged wizard by joining this famous guild. In her search, she runs into Natsu Dragneel and his partner Happy, who are on a quest to find Natsu's foster father, the dragon Igneel. Upon being tricked by a man, Lucy falls under an abduction attempt, only to be saved by Natsu. To her shock, he reveals that he is a member of Fairy Tail and invites her to join them. There, Lucy meets the guild's strange members, such as the Ice Wizard Grey Fullbuster and Magic Swordswoman Urza Scarlet. Together as a family, they battle the forces of evil, help those in need, and gain new friends, all the while enjoying the never-ending adventure that is Fairy Tail. In the blink of an eye, 30,000 bewildered Japanese gamers are whisked from their everyday lives into the world of the popular MMORPG, Elder Tale, after the game's latest update unable to log out. Among them is the socially awkward college student Shiro, whose confusion and shock lasts only a moment as, a veteran of the game, he immediately sets out to explore the limits of his new reality. Shiro must learn to live in this new world, leading others and negotiating with the NPC natives in order to bring stability to the virtual city of Akihabara. He is joined by his unfortunate friend Natsuki, having logged in for the first time in years, only to find himself trapped, and Akatsuki, a petite but fierce assassin who labels Shiro as her master. A tale of fantasy, adventure, and politics, Log Horizon explores the elements of gaming through the eyes of a master strategist who attempts to make the best of a puzzling situation. In order for something to be obtained, something of equal value must be lost. Alchemy is bound by this law of equivalent exchange. Something the young brothers Edward and Alphonse Elric only realize after attempting human transmutation. The one forbidden act of alchemy. They pay a terrible price for their transgression. Edward loses his left leg, Alphonse his physical body. It is only by the desperate sacrifice of Edward's right arm that he is able to affix Alphonse's soul to a suit of armor. Devastated and alone, it is the hope that they would both eventually return to their original bodies that gives Edward the inspiration to obtain metal limbs called Automail and become a state alchemist, the Fullmetal Alchemist. 3 years of searching later, the brothers seek the Philosopher's Stone, a mythical relic that allows an alchemist to overcome the law of equivalent exchange. Even with military allies Colonel Roy Mustang, Lieutenant Riza Hawkeye, and Lieutenant Colonel Maze Hughes on their side, the brothers find themselves caught up in a nationwide conspiracy that leads them not only to the true nature of the elusive Philosopher's Stone, but their country's murky history as well. In between finding a serial killer and racing against time, Edward and Alphonse must ask themselves if what they are doing will make them human again or take away their humanity. Son Goku is a young boy who lives in the woods all alone, that is, until a girl named Bulma runs into him in her search for a set of magical objects called the Dragon Balls. Since the artifacts are said to grant one wish to whoever collects all 7, Bulma hopes to gather them and wish for a perfect boyfriend. Goku happens to be in possession of a Dragon Ball, but unfortunately for Bulma, he refuses to part ways with it, so she makes him a deal. He can tag along on her journey if he lets her borrow the Dragon Ball's power. With that, the two set off on the journey of a lifetime. They don't go on the journey alone. On the way, they meet the old mutant Roshi and Wannabe disciple Kuririn, with whom Gakyu trains to become a stronger martial artist for the upcoming World Martial Arts Tournament. However, it's not all fun and games. The ability to make any wish come true is a powerful one, and there are others who would do much worse than just wishing for a boyfriend. To stop those who would try to abuse the legendary power, they train to become stronger fighters, using their newfound strength to help the people around them along the way. Long ago, a war was waged between the forces of darkness and light as dark brings stones, containing dark power beyond human ability, put the world at risk with their destructive force. In order to stem the tide of darkness, a lone swordsman used holy power known as the Rave to destroy the source of every dark brings. The resulting explosion, which came to be known as the Overdrive, destroyed a tenth of the world. Fragments of the Rave were scattered throughout. Groove Adventure Rave takes place 50 years after the Overdrive. A group known as Demon Card has collected the remaining dark brings, using them to lay siege to a number of towns. Meanwhile, a young swordsman by the name of Haru Glory has inherited both the Rave and its guardian, Plu, making him the next Rave master. With the aid of an amnesiac drifter by the name of Eliana's silver-manipulating blacksmith by the name of Musica, Haru must scour the world in search of the scattered Rave stones and put an end to the dark brings and Demon Card for once and for all. Dispersed around the world, there are several bizarre labyrinths hiding incredible treasures within them. These mysterious places, known as dungeons, are said to be the work of Magi, a class of rare magicians who also help people build their empires by guiding them to a dungeon. Jinns, supernatural beings that rule over the labyrinths, grant successful conquerors access to their immense power and choose them as potential king candidates to rule the world. Having spent life in isolation, Aladdin, a kind and young magician, is eager to explore the world upon finally leaving his home behind. He begins his journey only accompanied by his mentor Ugo, a jinn that Aladdin can summon with his flute. However, Aladdin soon becomes friends with the courageous Alibaba Saluja after causing the destruction of a local merchant's supply cart. In order to pay for the damages, Alibaba suggests that they attempt to conquer the nearest dungeon, taking the first step in an epic adventure that will decide the fate of the world itself. Based on the Shigakukan award-winning manga of the same name, Inuyasha follows Kagome Higurashi, a 15-year-old girl whose normal life ends when a demon drags her into a cursed well on the grounds of her family's Shinto shrine. Instead of hitting the bottom of the well, Kagome ends up 500 years in the past during Japan's violent Sengoku period, with the demon's true target, a wish-granting jewel called the Shiken Jewel, reborn inside of her. After a battle with a revived demon accidentally causes the sacred jewel to shatter, Kagome enlists the help of a young hybrid dog demon human named Inuyasha to help her collect the shards and prevent them from falling into the wrong hands. Joining Kagome and Inuyasha on their quest are the orphan fox demon Shippo, the intelligent monk Moroku, and the lethal demon slayer Sango. Together, they must set aside their differences and work together to find the power-granting shards spread across feudal Japan and deal with the threats that arise. In a world similar to the European Middle Ages, the feared yet revered Holy Knights of Britannia use immensely powerful magic to protect the region of Britannia and its kingdoms. However, a small subset of the knights supposedly betrayed their homeland and turned their blades against their comrades in an attempt to overthrow the ruler of Lyons. They were defeated by the Holy Knights, but rumors continued to persist that these legendary knights, called the Seven Deadly Sins, were still alive. 10 years later, the Holy Knights themselves staged a coup d'etat and thus became the new tyrannical rulers of the Kingdom of Lyons. Based on the best-selling manga series of the same name, Nanatsu no Taizai follows the adventures of Elizabeth, the third princess of the Kingdom of Lyons, and her search for the Seven Deadly Sins. With their help, she endeavors to not only take back her kingdom from the Holy Knights, but to also seek justice in an unjust world. Hunter x Hunter is set in a world where hunters exist to perform all manner of dangerous tasks like capturing criminals and bravely searching for lost treasures in uncharted territories. 12-year-old Gon Freaks is determined to become the best hunter possible in hopes of finding his father, who was a hunter himself and had long ago abandoned his young son. However, Gon soon realizes the path to achieving his goals is far more challenging than he could have ever imagined. Along the way to becoming an official hunter, Gon befriends the lively doctor in training Leorio, vengeful Kurapika, and rebellious ex-assassin Killua. To attain their own goals and desires, together the four of them take the hunter exam, notorious for its low success rate and high probability of death. Throughout their journey, Gon and his friends embark on an adventure that puts them through many hardships and struggles. They will meet a plethora of monsters, creatures, and characters, all while learning what being a hunter truly means. Gol D. Roger was known as the Pirate King, the strongest and most infamous being to have sailed the Grand Line. The capture and execution of Roger by the world government brought a change throughout the world. His last words before his death revealed the existence of the greatest treasure in the world, One Piece. It was this revelation that brought about the grand age of pirates, men who dreamed of finding One Piece, which promises an unlimited amount of riches and fame and quite possibly the pinnacle of glory and the title of the Pirate King. Enter Monkey D. Luffy, a 17-year-old boy who defies your standard definition of a pirate. Rather than the popular persona of a wicked, hardened, toothless pirate ransacking villages for fun, Luffy's reason for being a pirate is one of pure wonder. The thought of an exciting adventure that leads him to intriguing people and ultimately, the promised treasure. Following in the footsteps of his childhood hero, Luffy and his crew travel across the Grand Line, experiencing crazy adventures, unveiling dark mysteries and battling strong enemies, all in order to reach the most coveted of all fortunes, One Piece. So what do you think of this list? Their name and which is your favorite adventure anime? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe and hit the notification bell if you want to see more anime related content. I'll see you next time here in AniTube.